Hey guys, and welcome to today's video. How you doing today? I hope you guys are doing great so far. I want to say that I want to thank you all for supporting me and following me. I highly encourage you to subscribe to this channel as well as to click on the notifications button as well to stay notified with new uploads. So in today's video, I'm going to talk a little bit more about my personal life. It's just basically a chit chat video. And in today's video, I want to talk a little bit more about my experience working for AT&T. I was working for AT&T through another company. That company's name was Asurion. It is located, the one I worked for, it was located in Las Vegas. And I would have to say that overall, I had a really good experience with everybody that I worked there most with. It was about a year and a half ago, and I got the chance to talk and to take that a new step in my career and work with my partner. I worked for them for about 6 or 8 months or so, and I would say that overall it was a great experience. It was my second time that I had worked for. Overall, I was working for a how do you call those people? Customer service over the phone. So I would say that I was doing the customer service with AT&T. Overall, they had a really the trainer's name was Mike, as far as I remember. I would say that the training methods were more practical and more helpful rather than the training that he was telling us most of the times. In order to get hired with Asurion, if you are looking for a job, it is really easy to do. You have to be very proficient when it comes to using a computer or a laptop, and you have to be you have to have communication skills. You have to make sure you always keep the patience. You're gonna have a lot of people who are gonna call and are gonna yell at you, people who are going to be very entitled, and sometimes entitled because obviously I'm not saying entitled, it's a bad word in this case. It's just because sometimes they don't get to be explained about the whole issue when it comes to AT&T and combining bills and doing this and that. So a lot of the times customers are just honestly unaware, and a lot of the times they don't know what's going on. So I would say that as being an operator, which is a word that I was looking for a couple of minutes ago, it is a little bit harder to do, just because I feel like a lot of the times you have your boss expects a lot about you when it comes to communication skill, making sure you resolve the problem in a timely manner. And a lot of the times when you don't have a lot of experience when it comes to this, it gets a little bit difficult. You have a like, let's say I also worked for the Jitterbug company. I remember that for that we used to say something when we received a phone call, when we're about to pick up a phone call, we would say something like, this was a jitterbug, and we would have to say something like, thank you for calling Great Call. This call may be monitored and recorded. So something like that, you would have to say like something that it was scripted rather than just being a live person, like say, oh hi, this is my name Felipe, how are you, something like that. So you would have to be very first scripted, and they are always timing you for some reason. Like, you have to make sure you solve the problem within a time frame. People who, when I worked there, people who would escalate in this job, they would have to not only be very proficient in their job, but also be very friendly with everybody else and make sure that you're friendly, you're getting along with everybody, you're making sure you're doing your numbers, you're making sure you're upselling. A lot of the times customers call because they want to cancel they want to cancel their service, or they just want to cancel one service, or sometimes they just want to combine a bill. And a lot of the times when I work for AT&T, people are not, I don't want to say it that you could understand it in the wrong way, but a lot of the times you get a lot of phone calls transferred due that there are many operators that are not willing to do their job, or they're part of the job. So a lot of the times people are getting transferred to you, and you might be billing and people are probably trying to get to, you know, Ubers or AT&T or DirecTV, which are, even though it's the same company, there are three completely different entities. So a lot of the times, each entity may have a lot, like their own customer service or their own billing department, their own sales department, you know, their own like when people just want to call and cancel their like just finish the whole contract with the company. They have their own. Each entity has its own department like that. So a lot of the times you're gonna have people complaining saying, "I've been waiting for somebody who can assist me for over an hour and a half," and when the system pops up the phone call, a lot of the times you're not gonna know that, because if the customer doesn't says it, you're not gonna be able to see if the customer actually has spent over an hour, over 2 hours, over 3 hours, over 3 minutes. You really don't know, so you gotta give the best of yourself. And when it comes to customer service at that level, I feel like you have to be always. I remember one of the best tips that they've always recommended me is always smile, because customers can tell when, like, let's say, "Hello, this is Felipe. How you doing?" So they can kind of like sense that sensation and that feeling and that smile. They can sense that if you're happy, or like, "Hello, how can I help you?" You know, they can sense the tone of voice. They can sense your enthusiasm, the way that you're willing to work with them as the process goes by. So a lot of the times people don't understand that, even though you're on the other side and you want to help them, you know, your voice may be changed because maybe you're either or sick or tired or angry, or you just have emotional things going on in your life. Or maybe you're just sitting there waiting to solve problems, and a lot of the times when it comes to customers, not everybody's gonna understand that, you know, it is not your fault, and sometimes people take it on you. So if they take it on you, make sure you just wash it off out of your body, because it's not gonna happen that way. Your day is not gonna go that way. I remember I had so many phone calls where people, like, we would be there from 7 a.m. just because people in the east side would be awake already, and they would have already, like, for them it would be like either 5 or 8 or 9 or 10, and sometimes, or most of the times, they would be awake and they will be fully aware. They would have questions, or they would have concerns, or they would have complaints. So it's one of those things that you either have to, like, make sure you kind of like, you know, a lot of the times when you receive a phone call, you gotta make sure you understand where the customer is going for, or what the customer is trying to get, just to make sure, because at the end of the day, your main job is to keep that customer. And when it comes to AT&T, it gets a lot harder. Now that I'm working on the other side, it's a lot hard for me to understand an operator, because honestly, I've had so many rude operators over the phone, people who actually hang up on me, and I'm like, how can you do that? Because honestly, if you hang up a phone call, that affects your AUS, and kind of like you how many phone calls you get per minute, per hour, how many phone calls you receive, how many phone calls hang up on you. You know, those things, your main boss is going to track them, and those things are going to be very important at the end of the day, because if you want to follow up and grow up in the company, it's going to reflect in you. Now, Assurant also had at the moment was either working for Geico as well as another insurance. And the reason why I actually left the job, it wasn't because I didn't enjoy the job, but I felt like the hours were changing too much. Like, I wouldn't have I would either work sometimes in the morning, sometimes at night. It wasn't one thing for sure. Like, I feel like a lot of the times companies just, you know, just like everything else, it just make sure it takes as much advantage as you as an employee. And if you're gonna be working in the morning and you're really good, they're gonna try you in the morning, they're gonna try you in the evening, they're gonna try you at night, and it just gets exhausting. Within that company too, I have to say that one of the perks that I think I enjoyed, it was not only working with my partner, but also I enjoyed the fact that they were remodeling, we were taking classes, I think, near a public library, and it was really fun and exciting to do that way, because I remember, like, we didn't have times to clock in or clock out, we didn't have times to like not all the time we would have to check in when we were coming in, so we could say, hey, I've been here waiting for half an hour already to start the training. Training could be very exciting too. I remember one time my partner had to sing a song for an AT&T activity, and I feel like overall the atmosphere and the environment is very, very friendly. It's not as competitive as you would expect it to be in a like in a sales floor, or I don't know, anywhere else. I feel like it's very friendly. You get to talk and meet a lot of people. You get to sit with different people, and as long as you're honest with your job and you don't place that customer on hold for a long time, or you're not hanging up on them, or you're just transferring just because you just want to transfer them, then you're probably gonna stay in that job for a long time if you wanted to. Now, if you're somebody who gets annoyed and tired or angry or upset or just exhausted out of all the complaints that you receive and you just want to transfer them, that's probably not going to be one of your jobs, because you do have to be very patient. You have to make sure you learn the training courses. They help you a lot, but you gotta, I think, you have to pass different tests within like a couple of months. You have to make sure you have improved over that. So a lot of the times it gets a little bit harder there, but if you're very enthusiastic and you want the money and you want the job and you want the commission, you're probably gonna love it a lot. So I would say that overall my experience with working with my partner in Asurion, it was a lot better than working by myself for Asurion or AT&T. I would say that they were a really nice company to work for. I would definitely go back and work for another like operator or sales over the phone. I think it's very relaxing. I think you have your own time, you have your own place, you get to have your waters, sip it up, your Coke, your Sprite, whatever it is. As long as you're working professional, I remember, as long as you're wearing professional, you should be fine. I remember there were people who were just like in pajamas, and no one would complain. Like it really, people are not watching you through the phone, so they basically go the way that they want to. But I like to represent myself, not in the best way, but at least a little bit more serious. So I would say that overall, I would say if you're interested into trying either AT&T or Uversa with the phone as an operator, it is a really good chance that you're probably gonna get hired, because they're gonna ask a couple of really good questions like how many words, how many letters, how much can you do per minute. They're gonna test you over the phone and see how you do. Don't be nervous, be excited about it, be fierce, be noticeable, make a change, be the change, be positive. I've noticed that throughout my whole career, a lot of the people complain like, I'm tired to be here, or like they just put like this sort of face, like, it doesn't make a sense. It doesn't make any sense to me. When you're looking for a job, it means that you're like looking for a job because you need the job, not because you're there because they need you. And a lot of times I've seen a lot of young people do that, and they just get upset because there are a lot more people who are looking for a job because they want it, they need it. It's not because we're looking for a job because we're trying to get fun or have fun. So I hope that with this being said, it gives you more of a clear idea of what working for AT&T, working for Sutherland. It was an Asurion, it was Sutherland. Asurion is a company that works for Verizon, so if you want to see that video, please let me know. So Asurion works for Verizon and also Verizon. But Sutherland, it's a company that works with AT&T. Before I leave, I want to say that overall working for AT&T was a really nice, noticeable in my head customer service experience, because a lot of the times you do see all aging or mature or older people who were like, I got my bill and I sent out my payment with a check, and I'm still getting charged, and I got my service card. And you kind of relate to that, and you also are looking like into your head, you're still thinking, what is wrong with this? Like, how can I possibly help this person that is in the middle of nowhere, and I'm pretty sure they're telling me the truth. Now, you're gonna have those phone calls where they are gonna be like, excuse me, I'm sorry, I'm the only woman here, I'm a grandma, and I got charged, you know, porn movies, and I don't watch that. And then you'll be like on the other side answering like, do you have family over? Is it easy to use for young adults or kids or other people to be using your television, or to just rent out movies? And they'll be like, maybe. And a lot of the times is you gotta use your own judge mental. You gotta be, doesn't make any sense. You gotta use your own point of view, and you gotta be the judge into those special cases where you gotta credit back those accounts where it needs to be credited back. And sometimes you're gonna hear a voice of a young woman who has been renting the newest and youngest launches. Maybe she rented the Nutcracker, maybe she rented Peppermint, maybe she rented the new movie. I don't know. She rented the new couple movies. I don't know, whatever it is. And she's like, I'm sorry, I didn't rent it, or I rented them, but I was not able to see them. And you're like, I don't know. And you still can hear a little bit of the TV going on. So you kind of have those wise decisions onto seeing, check their history onto how many cancellations, how many credits back have they received, how does the system works, because at the end of the day, you have to understand that you also want to make sure that the customer is satisfied. And if it's the first time, you gotta do it. If it's not, you gotta think more about what's going on and what the results could be if you would return that money. With all this being said, I hope it's a little bit more clear, like I said before. If you guys have more questions, tell me, what do you guys think about, and I'll make sure I'll write down for every one of you a response back as soon as possible. Tell me if you want to hear a story about how does working for Verizon is, and I'll bring an expert for you guys. Tell me how you guys feel about my story of working for a gas station for over 7 years. And I would love to share my experience with you guys. So if you guys want to know a little bit more about it, please make sure you let me know. Make sure you thumbs up, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye bye.